So, so yes. So friends, oh, okay. Says we're back on. So anyway, my apologies to anybody who was watching earlier. We're probably jumping back on momentarily here. Um, so uh, we're talking about the great beer that you guys make. What do you think has been what's a beer that you've had, not necessarily one of yours? What's one that you've had that really sticks out in your mind as being like just a really like probably the best beer you've ever had, or one of the ones that was super memorable?
Oh man. Well, I mean, obviously there's some delicious, Belgian beers, the Cantillons of the world that you could say are the best beers you've ever had. Obviously, we love all of the Maryland beers that are being made. I will say we spent some time at Allagash getting to know them, and their Cool Ship program produces some really amazing beers. I think Allagash White, even though we love our Belgian wit, and we actually reached out to them for some suggestions as we were creating that beer. But their Allagash White is one of my favorites. It's a good beer. Resurrections, got a soft spot in my heart. Yeah, I mean, I think those are kind of two that I think about.
Yeah, it's funny. We went up to Portland, Maine last year, and of course, one of the first places we, on our plan was Maine beer and Allagash, and everything else was just gravy. Other than that, and my wife loved Allagash White. She likes drinking it here in Maryland. And when we had it fresh up there in Maine, friends, if you like Allagash White now, taste it fresh off the tap. It is like day and night. It is completely different. Really, really solid. So yeah, I totally appreciate that. So yeah, we'll. Oh, and a kitty.
Remember our brewery cat, Will? Well, he lives at my house now.
Oh, get out! I remember Will. Yeah, Will had a little adventure.
That's right. So he lives out on the farm he went to visit the farm, but he lives out here now, and he loves it. But yeah, you mentioned two places, Maine Beer Co. and Allagash, and again, it's funny, like these extremely well-known breweries are such nice people as well. They really care about the beer, and it kind of shows in the way they interact with everybody. So
yeah,
it's a fun community for sure. Yeah. I do see a question from George. What style of beer have you guys not done that you might want to try to tackle? Actually, we've never done a table beer.
Oh yeah.
Which is something that we've been talking about for a while now, and we are actually going to do one in about the next 30-45 days. We're gonna put one in. So that's one that we haven't done, but we are going to do, and I'm excited for.
Yeah. Would so the other day when I was at the tap room, I noticed that you actually have a sour sour on tap. It's a lemon lime or something right now. Mm-hmm. And are you starting to get into sours more than you were before?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, we do some kettle sours throughout the year. We probably won't do another one this year. Maybe not till June of next year. So yeah, we do a couple kettle sours, but we don't do a ton of them. Yeah, we do like, obviously our portfolio or our beers tend to skew IPA heavy or lagers. So IPA, lagers, and stouts is kind of what we'll be doing for the next several months.
Yeah.
Or maltier beers, for the season.
Yeah. Do you think you'd ever do anything like a seltzer or anything like that? Always have to ask that question.
No, I mean, I've had some breweries that have done them that have been great. No, I don't know. Maybe we haven't really talked about it too much. So at this point, no.
Yeah.
Probably won't see one from us, but I've had some breweries doing one. I think Greg just did one out at Inverness, which was delicious. So I've seen some breweries do them, and they do them well, and so we'll enjoy those for the time being.
I know Rob Goss will approve of that answer wholeheartedly from experience.
Is White Claw.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he's a big fan of White Claw for other reasons. But side note, I've discovered Pools Island does really nice seltzers as well. That's usually not my thing, but they're doing wonderful stuff out there. So on the flip side, we've talked about some of the greatest beer you've ever had. Is there a beer that sticks out in your head as the worst beer you've ever had? And if you need a second, I can tell you what my two are, if you need a minute. But
I probably 15 years ago, my first ever brown ale was horrendous that I made on my home system.
Okay.
So probably that was not good. But listen, there are we critique our beers a lot. We feel like every brewery works really hard to make the best beer they can. So the only beer I can kind of throw into the worst beer I've ever had is my own home brew 15 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, the two that I that rank up there for me, number 2 was from Dogfish Head, and number 1 was from Ballast Point. So so I will throw those two out there. That's for sure. So let's see. We're going a little out of order here. We talked about you guys have made some improvements to your tasting room and everything. Tell us a bit about that building that you guys have. I was telling my daughter about it not too long ago, and it's such a cool building. And I know it has a bit of a story to it, but if you could share that with everybody watching, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, sure. So the building we're in, and we're actually in 2. So our main building is where the main production facility is. Went up in 1904. So I think construction started in 1900 and was finished by 1904. It's 11,000 square feet, and it was originally Williamson Veneer Factory or Veneer Company. And there were train tracks that ran right behind the building, so on the opposite side of Haven Street. And then our other building, where it's primarily kind of cold storage, our mill and distribution didn't go up until the 40s, but that used to be an old lumber yard. Thanks, Steve. And so they produced basically veneer there, and that whole facility was part of Williamson Veneer Company. They stopped producing veneer in like 1917 to do gun stocks for the war. And then after that, I think King Cork took it over. And then it was a co-packer and a couple other things. And then from like the 80s on, pretty much sat empty until we got it. So our neighbors when we first moved in were Mark Supik. So Supik wood turning. So they do a lot of tap handles for local breweries. So Brewers Art, which you see all those fun tap handles came from there. Oliver's, us, I think Duclaw. A lot of breweries use them. So they were our neighbors. They've since moved into a new location, but yeah, I mean it's a fun old building, but with that comes a lot of upkeep on old buildings. So
yeah, and friends, it's super easy to find too. If you go, they're on the east side of town. If you follow Eastern Avenue out all the way through Highlandtown, make the left on Haven Street, and they're right up the street. Super easy to find. Lots of off-street parking, which is a bonus, especially for the city. So make sure you check that. If you haven't been, go visit. Um, so actually, before I jump to the next question, I'm empty again. You ready to move on to the last one?
yeah, let's move on.
All right. So we have what, backpack guy?
Backpack guy.
Yeah. So friends, there you go.
So this is an 8% double IPA. This beer Dave designed after our trip to Maine. So we took the production team to Maine about a year ago, and Dave created this beer. So the artwork was done by her name's Jen out of York, PA. She does a really good job, really kind of beautiful, pen work. So a lot of, penning, I guess is what it's called. I don't really know the term, but anyway, she's much more talented than I am, and created this beautiful label for us. But the backpack guy, the story of it is when we were in Maine, his name's Nighthawk. His name's actually Dave, but we have, both Dave is Nighthawk is Dave's assistant brewer. So when he joined the team, we couldn't have two Daves because, our head brewer Dave is the only Dave. So we've got, we nicknamed him Nighthawk. If anyone can put in comments what that reference is from, then, we'll get you a free pint when you come in to the brewery. But yeah, so this was kind of, a hazy, I think it was our first hazy after Nobo Sobo that we had ever done. So this was originally our Brewers exclusive #1.
Okay.
And this one is much more tropical. So we use Mosaic, Amarillo, and Cashmere in this one. So super pillowy mouthfeel, tons of tropical fruit on the nose, really smooth and easy drinking for 8%. So yeah, that's a little bit of the story behind this.
I know we're not talking.
Yeah, so
no, we're
that guy is actually Nighthawk because he carried his backpack around everywhere so he could load up on beers as we visited places like Maine Beer Co. and Allagash.
Oh man, well this, friends, just look at the color on this. This is amazing. A lot of sweetness, a lot of fruit in it. Getting a lot of orange out of it. Some grapefruit, probably some pink grapefruit a little bit. But yeah, whereas the other one was a bit more bitter hoppy and pine, this one is like nice and sweet and fruity and just really nice. I want this for like a car air freshener. I love the smell.
But to your point earlier, I think, as Dave designs these beers, he thinks a lot about, how can we separate them, make them different, get, focus on different elements of the hops or different, to your point, Melody Caravan's a little, more traditional as far as, some hot bite there. So yeah, we're really happy with this too. Again, like I said, we're really proud of the work that Dave and his team do on creating and executing on these beers.
Mhm. And so friends, we were, Ken mentioned that this was originally one of their brewers exclusive beers. And right now, still at the brewery, there's still a few cans left of brewers exclusive number 3, which I happen to have yesterday. If you were watching, some of the videos and posts yesterday that I had up, that was brewers exclusive number 3, and that is fantastic. So still a few cans of that. Get out there this weekend before they're all gone, because I suspect that is going to go quickly as well. And it's as solid as as Backpack Guy, which was number 1. So definitely get out there, grab those at the brewery while you still can. So yeah, is there the so how many beers do you have on tap at any one time?
12.
12. Okay. And friends, I posted a link to, or a picture of their tap list. And I realize it's constantly evolving, but one of the things we do with Frank About Beer is introduce people casually into the world of craft beer. If somebody were to walk into Monument City and say, "Give me a beer that introduces me to Monument City," what would you recommend?
Introduces you to Monument City or craft beer?
Well, let's start with Monument City, but then we'll also go with craft beer.
Our 51 Rye is probably what we would recommend, just because it's so much, of what Matt and I, wanted the brand to be and what we wanted to make in beer. It's funny because we were told by a distributor that a rye beer will never sell.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our first 2 beers in market ever were the 51 Rye and American Brown Ale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both, we were told, those beers aren't going to work. And we just said, we really like them. We're going to give them a try. So 51 Rye, both are fantastic, but 51 Rye is, has done very well for us. So I think 51 Rye is the one I would recommend, because that's, kind of, our heart and soul when it comes to kind of, our philosophy around beer. Brew really good beer and kind of what we like.
Yeah, I love that one of your flagships is the brown ale. That was one that was introduced to me about a year ago, where it was sort of like, brown ales, really? And I think it was Brendan at True Respite that sat me down and said, yes, you need to find out about brown ales again. And I love that that's one of the ones that I can find on a regular basis from Monument City is your brown ale, and I'll grab that every time I see it. It's fantastic. Friends, if you haven't discovered brown ale, discover it.
Thank you.
But yeah,
appreciate that.
Really great stuff. So what do you think you would be doing if you weren't owning one of Baltimore's best breweries?
I don't know. I'd be hanging out at Greg's Brewery all the time. No, I don't know. I mean, in my prior life, Matt and I came from different worlds. I was a senior VP of marketing for a bank in New York called Citigroup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd probably be doing that, which isn't really that fun. It pays better, I'll tell you that, but it's it wasn't. It really was not. It just was not an enjoyable career.
Yeah.
I think, if I wasn't in craft beer, I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know, maybe raise chickens. I'm not sure. We've got 8 here, at our house, but I don't know. It's a good question. I haven't really thought about that. I don't know, maybe travel in a van or something.
in a
Park
van
it
down
down.
by the river. There you go.
That's right.
There you go,
Um,
Irene, if you're still watching.
but I will say, the industry, as a brewery owner or anyone that works in craft beer, it's not an industry you choose to get into to become, wildly, wealthy. It's one that you really have to have a passion for creating beer. And if you look at some of the people in the industry that have, been here for a long time, Matt brewers, Greg, there's a whole host of others, but it's, these guys do it, and they're, Dave Thompson, our brewer, because they have a passion for it. They're not in it to be glamorous. They're there because they love creating and making, and they take it really, really seriously, which is a beautiful thing to watch and to see. So.
Yeah, I mean, you've rattled off some names of people that are making amazing beer and have made amazing beer in Baltimore for a good long time. And, it's just, it's so cool to have all of you guys here, watching, and, to be able to talk to you all and drink your beer on a regular basis. I just love that. Is there, earlier we talked, we mentioned that, Dave from Brewery Fire, who are just celebrating their first anniversary this weekend. He stopped by earlier today, or earlier in the conversation and everything. And I know, he's been a guest on the show and had some good input as well. But as somebody who is well established in the brewery, and who's making amazing beer that's within distribution and everything, what advice do you have for somebody who's looking to get into the industry or start their own brewery?
I wouldn't call us well established. I would say that we've been around a little while, but and again, and like I said earlier, to put it in perspective, there's people that are 20 plus years. If you look at Hugh and others, they're much more established. What I would say is, and it's really maybe not just for craft beer, but anything in general, is you have to love kind of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And the money, you can't think about, financial gains. You have to think about, how you can make the best beer possible, or the best product, or the best service possible. And the rest kind of comes. But I think first and foremost, you have to just, for craft beer specifically, just be passionate about making really good beer.
Well, cool. Well,
and the other thing is learning. Like, we ask a lot of questions of there's a lot of experience out there. So.
Yeah. Well, so, one of the new questions that we're asking everybody, just as as a final thing, you've been around the industry for a while. You've named some interesting people in this industry, and we have a lot of cool people in it. Is there a crazy story that has happened to you that you can share with us?
That I can share?
Yeah, we all love a great story. And if not, that's okay. To protect the guilty, we can do that too.
Man, there's a lot of good ones. I will say, and if Greg's still on, I'll just use Greg. And Greg's become a really good friend of of me personally, but of the brewery as a whole. I think one of the, not a crazy story, but one of the funnest is, if that's a word, is Greg and I think it was before we were even open. Greg was, and if those who don't know Greg, I think Greg is 6'5", 6'6".
With a beard that's 6'3". Yeah.
we had a half wall, which was I don't know, maybe 4 feet or 3.5 feet, that Greg was leaping one evening. So after he and I had enjoyed some woods, or among the pines, that's a fun story. Not so much a crazy one. But no, I don't have anything too crazy. Everyone is always on their best behavior.
Of course, of course. Well,
Oh,
yes.
actually, I have one. When Matt and I first started, we were brewing 51 rye, and we got our rakes stuck in the mash tun.
Ooh.
I had to get in there and dig it out, which is not fun. Um, and my brother kept, accidentally putting hot grain on my back, which was not fun. So that's probably the craziest story that I have.
Oh man.
Not overly exciting.
No, that's it sounds like a good brotherly thing to do.
Yeah. I
Oh
think he
man.
said it's only 40 C. I think
Exactly.
is what he said.
Exactly. We're, if you measure it in Celsius instead of Fahrenheit, it makes all the difference. So.
That's great.
Oh man. Well, Ken, thanks so much for joining us. Where can people find your beers? Or what's your distribution look like?
Well, so right now we're pretty much in all of Maryland. So, hopefully at all your favorite, local craft beer stores. We are expanding next month into Allegheny and Garrett. If anyone is on the show that's out in those counties, so we'll be launching out there at the beginning of October. And then we're starting to kind of self-distro into Moco next month as well. So, most places you can find it. For things like Backpack Guy, Nobo Sobo, any of the Brewers exclusive, pretty much anything that comes in our 16-ounce cans or is at the brewery only, or you can order it online for curbside pickup.
So there you go, Stephanie. They're coming into Moco, so make sure you check it out. And I know you're going to love their beer because you and I are friends, so I happen to know that. So yeah, and friends, you can find them online on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. Check them out at Monument City. I think it might be Monuments. I think it is just Monument City. But yeah, you can find them easily on Facebook, on Instagram. Make sure you follow them to get all their news for upcoming beer releases and special events that are going on. And make sure you visit them. They're doing a wonderful job of being open on weekends, keeping it clean, keeping it socially distanced, and making amazing beer in the process. So Ken, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it tonight.
Yeah, Christian, thanks so much. We appreciate it, and we look forward to watching your next show. But also, thank you for supporting us brewers. Really, without you and this community, we don't exist. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for making amazing beer and being awesome people. So cool.
Cheers.
Well, cheers, man. So friends, that was Ken from Frankabout. That was Ken from Monument City Brewing. Make sure you check them out online. Follow their pages all over social media. Be sure to check them out. They're, like I say, they're open on weekends. They've got great outdoor seating. They've got some indoor seating as well. 12 beers on tap all the time. A great variety of beers as well. Really check them out. I highly recommend it. Lots of off-street parking too, so that is a bonus for anybody who's ever gone to a brewery in Baltimore City. Let's see. Next week, I'm still trying to pin down a brewery. Friends, if you are a brewery, if you are brewery staff or own a brewery and want to be on it, pin me down for a date. There's a lot of people that are checking calendars. You want to jump in on it real quick. We've got a couple others happening in October that I'm really looking forward to. Make sure you follow Frank About Beer and mark the turn on your notifications so that you can see all of those that are happening. Let's see. As always, check out mdcraftbeer.net to find to find a brewery near you and find out other information on breweries that are open, that have outdoor seating, ones that are near you that you may not have known of. That is at mdcraftbeer.net. We'll have that in the show notes tomorrow on Frank About Beer's Facebook page. Also, check out the Brew for BAM. To donate money towards the Brewers Association of Maryland, a wonderful nonprofit. And as always, when you go out to the breweries, make sure you tip heavily. There's a lot of great people that are in a tough spot right now due to COVID, and every little bit that you can give to them will go a long way. As my as the saying goes, tip like nobody's watching. As my friend corrected me, he said, "Tip like everyone is watching." So yeah, every little bit helps for a lot of great people that are in a tough spot right now, especially there at your favorite local breweries. So again, I'm Christian from Frank About Beer. Thanks for watching. Be kind, be safe, be patient.